Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I wanted to make a video talking about the best heist NPC crew to use in the new Diamond Casino Heist. And in this video I'm not talking about players, what type of players you get into your heist. I'm talking about the NPC crew, so the gunman, the driver, and the hacker. I'm going to be talking about which one of these is the best, and it depends on the heist approach. Some of them you should have the same for all the heist approaches, some of them you should mix it up, and I'll also give, my opinion on this, but I'll also back up my opinion with reasons on why I believe that way. So let's get started with this. So to start off here, I want to start off with the most basic one, which is the driver. Now, for all three heist approaches, regardless of which one it is, the aggressive one, silent and sneaky, and the big con, I think that you should actually choose the cheapest driver, Kareem, right here. Now, Kareem takes a 5% cut, and he gives you a variety of two-seater vehicles. I personally like picking the Sentinels with him. I just like the handling on that car, and I just like the Sentinel over the other cars, but other drivers, the more expensive ones like Eddie Toh, they'll give you a variety of four-seater vehicles, and they are faster. And I mean, you could probably get the Elite Challenge done easier if you choose somebody like Eddie Toh, but Eddie Toh takes a much higher cut. The reason that I think the Kareem would be the best getaway driver is because Kareem takes a 5% cut, and you don't even really need the getaway vehicles to escape. You don't need them, because oftentimes when me and my friends are getting out of the casino, we just take a random civilian car. So when you run around the track right here, this is the best way to actually exit the casino in all approaches. You run around the track, you run right on the street here, take a civilian car, steal a civilian car, and drive it. If you can get to the getaway vehicles, get to them, because they'll be a little faster, but oftentimes the getaway vehicles can be in a really bad place. Like in this place, they were in a good spot, but other times they can be really far all the way across the casino, and they can be right in front of all the cops, and that can make getting to them really annoying. You don't really need the getaway vehicles. All you need is basically a car, and then right after you get that car, just drive right here in the sewers. Once you're in the sewers, you're good. That's it. Drive out the other end of the sewers, you lost the cops, and you can just escape. Your drive will be a little bit longer, probably, because you're going to have a slower car than the ones that the expert drivers give you, but it's worth it, because you save an extra 5% more, and you don't got to pay that much money off in the heist. So the better driver is the cheap driver. Get the cheap driver for all the heists that you're getting. If you want to get, Eddie Toh for the Elite Challenge, you could do that. It'll make it a little easier, but I personally think the cheapest driver is the best one for all three heist approaches. The next role we have is the gunman. Now, what gunman should you get? Now, the gunman is a little different, because unlike the driver, where the cheap driver is the best across all three approaches, you should always get a better gunman when you do the aggressive approach, because the aggressive approach, you're always going to be fighting enemies. You're going to be shooting your way out, so you're going to want to have better weapons. Now, you could get the good gunman, but he'll give you, an SMG. I personally think the best gunman for the aggressive approach would be Packy. Now, Packy, to unlock him, you have to find him in a LCPD van that's randomly driving around the city. I personally recommend looking for him in an invite-only lobby, but whenever you find him, he'll be kind of like a little dot on your map. You just rescue him, save him from the van, just drive the van to a safe area, and you unlock Packy as a crew member. He takes an 8% cut, so he's not expensive like Chester with 10%. He does charge a little bit more than the poor gunman, obviously, but for 8%, Packy will give you a heavy machine gun. So I personally think that Packy is the best gunman that you can get on the aggressive approach. So whenever you have the aggressive approach, I just personally always use Packy, heavy machine gun, find it very useful. Now, as for the other two heists, what gunmen should I get for the other two heists? For the big con and for silent and sneaky. For silent and sneaky, you should always get a poor gunman. And the reason you want to get a poor gunman on silent and sneaky is because you're going to be doing it stealth. You don't really need a gun that can fire a lot of bullets. You don't even need a gun that does a lot of damage. Make sure you do the Duncan shipment mission so that the enemies don't have the armored helmets on. And then all you basically need to do is just whenever you're trying to take out these guys quietly, you can go behind them, melee them with the gun, or you can just shoot them in the head. Regardless of the gun that you're using, even if it's a poor gun, you just shoot them in the head and you kill them. I did the finale several times with poor gunman weapons. We completed it stealth, so you don't really need an expert or even a good gunman on the silent and sneaky approach. Now, as for the other one, the big con, also get a poor gunman. And the reason you want a poor gunman there is because if you do it the best way possible, the group A approach, the armored truck robbery. That is the one that almost everybody does when they do Big Con. They always do the armored trucks because the armored trucks is the easiest approach. Even with bugsters, I still managed to do it stealth. I just had to go behind enemies and just melee them from behind. Now, when you do the Big Con, you're not going to get suppressors on these weapons, but you don't really need them. You can just use the poor weapons and you can just melee the enemies from behind. I've done that like in this case right here. Just go up the staircase, wait till this guy walks right past you, melee him from behind, melee the guy in the hallway. So for the Big Con and Silent and Sneaky, you don't need good guns because those heists, both of them are stealth, and you can just walk out and do the whole heist without even firing a single bullet. As for the aggressive approach, always get pack. You get a better gunman, but the other two, Silent and Sneaky, and the Big Con, get a poor gunman because it'll save you money. They'll take a 5% cut versus taking more. And the final NPC crew member we have is the hacker. Now, which hacker should you use? For all three heists, regardless of the approach, regardless of if it's the aggressive heist, if it's Silent and Sneaky, or if it's the Big Con, you should always use an expert hacker because the expert hacker will get you more time inside the vault. Even if they take a higher percentage, the fact that they give you more time in the vault, you'll be able to take more money and make more money overall, so always get an expert hacker. Now the question remains, which is the better expert hacker? Because there's two. There's both Paige and Avi. And I notice a lot of people arguing on the internet, people saying Pagers is better, people saying Avi is better. Which is the better hacker? What is the difference between the two? I decided to test it out right here. And as you can see right here, we have the Big Con. It's the exact same heist approach. Only difference here is the entry. We have the bugsters on the left. We have the Group A approach, the armored truck drivers on the right side. It does not matter on the entry disguise. It's still going to be the exact same time. But the time difference between the two hackers is that Avi seems to give you basically between 4 to 5 seconds more. And I tested it also on the Silent and Sneaky approach. And you can see right here, Avi gives you about 5 seconds more as well. I decided to start it exactly when the timer shows up, and when the timer shows up, he's about 5 seconds more. On the aggressive approach, he's around 3 seconds. So it's less of a difference, but it's 5 seconds more of Avi, and he takes 1% more. Now, is Avi actually worth it? For 1% more, if you take, let's say you take $2 million. If you take $2 million from the vault, Avi will basically be getting $20,000, 1%. So if you feel that you can get between $20,000 to $25,000 in those 5 seconds, then I would say that Avi is worth it. But if you don't think you can get that much money, go for Paige. It all depends on personal preference. But regardless of whether you choose Avi or Paige, they are the best hackers. So always choose either Avi or Paige. They will hold down the timer on the vault the most amount out of all the other hackers. They'll let you get the most amount of money. It's up to personal preference whether you like Avi or Paige. I personally think that Paige would be better in a lot of situations because I don't really see myself, grabbing between $20,000 to $25,000 in 5 seconds unless I'm right at the cart then. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the heists. What do you think of these NPC crewmen? What do you think of my, my choices on this? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? But this was my personal preferences on how I do these heists with what NPC crew members. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. And if you're new to my channel, join my channel, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.